Good evening, everyone. This is your host, Jess, and welcome back to the Apparoni and Cheese of the Week. Today, we're tackling Deadlock again. You know, being a game in early access, the game has a lot of mysteries that have not been answered. Like, what the hell do the ranks mean? Besides, like, Eternus or Eternal or whatever it is. Like, that makes sense. Eternal, you're on top, something Valorant. But the other ones kind of sound like you're playing Harry Potter Quidditch at Harry Porter's house, being like, I'm dangling my wand all over the place. Like, none of this makes any sense. Like, what's the point of playing Quidditch if all you have to do is get, like, the golden snitch? Like, what are all the other people doing at that point? You just always go for the golden snitch. Like, who gives a crap about the other part of the game? I'll have to read through the entire Harry Potter book series to understand what emissary rank means. I don't remember that, like, Wingardium Leviosa, Levaticus Lodaticus, Abracadabra, Don Quixote. I don't know what mumbo-jumbo they're pulling out here. Like, this is some J.K. Rowling adding stuff in, like, later on Twitter kind of beat right there. Today, we're not going to focus on Harry Potter, of all things. What we're going to actually focus on is the importance of Deadlock Tuesday, one of the most celebrated holidays of all time, recently just beating out Christmas. People think this holiday came absolutely out of nowhere and just specifically every Tuesday. They think it's rigged. From the outside perspective, that can make a lot of sense, but my goal is to help folks understand the importance of Deadlock Tuesday because it's been around for an extremely long time, and it's often been misunderstood. Due to the popularity of Deadlock, you know, it makes a lot of sense that it will eventually pick up, right? People say I'm the Dwifta baby when I walk into the mall, then people say I'm the Dwifta baby when I leave the mall, people say I'm the Dwifta baby at like 11 a.m. at night. It is clear Deadlock is on the rage. And as things get popular, of course people are going to be like, I hate that because it's popular. Well, you're wrong. It's popular for a reason. It's a really good reason, you asshole. Maybe if you understood a couple of things instead of looking at Twitter for all your answers, you would actually comprehend the deep complexity of Deadlock Tuesday. First off, we have to go through a bit of history with Deadlock Tuesday, which actually starts around the time of the Romans. One of the first instances of a deadlock, which was between Julius Caesar and that whole, like, gang of senators that really didn't like Julius Caesar for some reason. They were engaged in a deadlock, and this is one of the first instances of Deadlock Tuesday. When the Julius Caesar guy from the pizza chain ended up getting stabbed, that was on Deadlock Tuesday. He ended up getting ganked by everyone and beaten up. But they didn't realize Augustus was actually carrying the lobby the whole time. So while Julius was tanking the gank, Augustus proceeded to actually get their walkers and be able to scale high enough to actually defeat the rest of their team. And that marked one of the first instances of Deadlock Tuesday. Deadlock Tuesday highlights a significant event in history where two sides with an almost equal amount of force pushing against each other decide who will be in control for the rest of time until another deadlock happens, and therefore it repeats again. Deadlock Tuesday is not a complicated holiday. Think of it like watching the Coliseum, or a game of football on Sunday. It could be equivalent to that. It's kind of like sports. You may be like, well, that doesn't really make it a holiday then at that point. They got a character in the game named Holiday, so I mean, like, well, duh, of course it's going to be a holiday at that point. While it's not officially recognized by the government or any governments, you know, everyone knows about it, but the government's afraid because, you know, let's just say they kind of suck ass at Deadlock. That's really it for the history lesson. It's just that one Roman reference there. Besides just the enjoyment of spilling blood on the battlefield and running people over with cars and whatnot and saying, I'm the drifter, baby. Well, yeah, of course that's entertaining. It's always entertaining. Violence is entertaining. Why do you think I watch the hockeys? I've only become a hockey fan because it's violent. Otherwise, I would not watch hockey. It's like having a bajillion Abrams on your team and they just run into people and go, douche, and bash them with books the whole time. Except it sticks instead. But on the philosophical note with philosophers and the philosopher rank from Deadlock, they've analyzed it very deeply and understanding that this is just telling of the human condition, that there will be powers that will always rise up, whether it's groups or singular people. They will always come to blows until someone else comes out on top. Holidays mark certain values. Valentine's, love for your fellow person, whether it be platonic or romantic. St. Patrick's Day, alcoholism. Cinco de Mayo, selling tacos on the 5th of May. The month of June, the guy from Halo Reach. And most importantly, Labor Day, because my back hurts after carrying my whole team. And when we see what value that Deadlock Tuesday has, we see futility. Do you know the story of Sisyphus? The guy who pushes the rock up the mountain only for it to fall all the way back down. Meaning, none of their effort went anywhere. Deadlock Tuesday represents exactly that because it's a MOBA. Futility. Whether you win your first game, it will always come crashing down and end. One must always come out on top. While yes, you did push the rock up the mountain, it will always fall back down. And that's why we celebrate Deadlock Tuesday, to understand the delusion and grandeur that people put themselves through, to think one day I'll reach the top of the mountain, when really, they will never reach the top of the mountain. It is impossible. No one will recognize that maybe you don't need to push the boulder, but the desire to get the boulder to the top of the mountain is too appealing. And so, you must push the boulder because you think one day, I can make it to the top. But you won't. You simply won't. The answer was, you shouldn't have been pushing the rock in the first place. And yes, I am one of those people. I am addicted to pushing the rock and watching it fall back down. I can't stop. I simply am in a fruitless endeavor to teach a lesson to people about Deadlock Tuesday. It is much better to watch and learn from afar than to become the one pushing the boulder. To teach others that this is not the life I want for you. Play better games, like not League of Legends. Thank you for understanding the importance of Deadlock Tuesday as a holiday.